So you're in a rut. You're not at all behind in life, but for whatever reason, you cannot shake the feeling that you are. Dealing with ambition, but loneliness, because you have dreams and ideas and goals, and you're working so hard, but the grind doesn't stop, but you don't see any visible motion, like you are losing at the race. You're lacking freedom in your own life, just waiting for your life to begin. You might ask yourself, what am I really doing this all for? We tend to think that happiness is the destination. If you start to chase happiness, you will never feel satisfied. We can't show up to our job at our 100% if we're not checking off all of the boxes in other areas as well. What is the underlying issue here? You're wired for acceleration. We just need growth layers instead of one ladder. We need to figure out and evaluate exactly what we want. Who is Peyton when nobody's watching? Because when you chase future greatness, that is a constant moving horizon. Be patient with yourself. Change the perspective, change the way that you're looking at your everyday life. Life doesn't need to feel cinematic in your everyday. And if you try to make it feel that way, then you'll never feel settled. That's all materialistic stuff. Your present state will always feel insufficient. What we're trying to add to our lives here is aliveness in our present state. Who are we internally? What parts of us need love instead of performance? When would I have sat there and not thought about being somewhere else? The combination of growth and peace. People want real, not aesthetics. I need depth, not performance. Appreciate the moments that suck. That's what's gonna build the resilience and turn you into the person that you're trying to become. So here's what I came up with, and I'm going to share it with you. Hello, everybody. So I'm going to make a series called Growth Diaries, we can call it, because I am from Connecticut. I'm 21 years old. I'm a Part 135 pilot, and I got based out in Phoenix Sky Harbor. So back in October, I picked up my life. I moved out to Arizona. I know nobody out here. Everybody that I know and love is over on the East Coast. I'm in a completely new area on the opposite side of the country. I'm meeting new people. I'm learning a ton of life lessons. It's a very weird season of growth in my life. I think that's why a big part of moving away from home is such a big deal, because what I'm learning out here is just, it's a lot. It would be really cool to document this stuff and share it and put it out there. Something I wanted to talk about, because I recently had an experience in a hotel room the other night, and I wanted to share it and how I talked myself through it. So you're in a rut. You're not at all behind in life, but for whatever reason, you cannot shake the feeling that you are. Because you have dreams and ideas and goals, and you're working so hard, but the grind doesn't stop, but you don't see any visible motion going towards the success of these goals. So you feel like you're stagnant, and every day is a new day, but yet they all feel identical, and they're all blending together, and you're just watching these days fleet behind you, and you feel anxiety because you feel like you're not doing enough, but you're already working so hard, so you're burnt out. You want to be patient and trust in the knowing that good things are coming, and you're on the correct path to completing those goals and achieving what you want in life, but you're not seeing any of that visible growth happening. Overall, you feel like you're a puppet in your own story, and you feel very out of control over your own life. You don't have enough time. You feel like you are losing the race. Well, there's no race. I'm gonna give the whole backstory that led to this whole preaching session and my personal experience that I had, because I feel like it might be relatable to some people. So I had a mental spiral in one of my hotel rooms the other night. 6 consecutive nights in a hotel room that I have at a time can start to get very lonely. I start thinking about all of the other things that I want to do in my life. Not because flying isn't fulfilling me, but when the days start to blend together, that light at the end of the tunnel starts to get a little bit dim, and it can feel very far from that. Of course, I'm smart and aware enough to know that every day that I'm there and every day I'm flying, I'm building more experience and I'm getting closer to my next goal. But every quiet night in a hotel room starts to feel like a waiting room. I want to have my mom come out here and visit me and my dad come out and visit me, but I'm either working or I'm on reserve. So I'm not going to have them fly out here across the country, and I could potentially have to go to work, and now they're just in Arizona for no reason. Now, this is life. That's a very minor thing in our life. There are things that are gonna come up in our lives that we can't attend to because we're busy working or we're busy doing this and that. We already established, I just moved to Arizona. I don't know anybody out here. My family is across the country. So when there's things that come about that I want to go experience with them and be able to go see them when I want to and I can't, that can get very lonely. Now, a motto that I like to set for myself and a standard that I like to have is, okay, let's problem solve. What can I control in my life right now? I have a job, I have a responsibility to complete. This is exactly where I want to be. It's getting me to where I want to go in life. This is my responsibility. What can I control? So I started to think of other hobbies and side hustles that maybe I can start working on so that we could have more financial freedom come in the door. Let's solve that. When I started thinking about it, I'm like, I don't have the time for that. So now I'm thinking about, okay, I'm time constrained. I'm financially constrained. I'm feeling lonely because I'm alone in this hotel room and I can't go see my family and my friends. And now when I start to think, what can we do to problem solve? Now I'm realizing I officially feel gripless and out of control over my own time and my own life. And before anybody says to me, this is temporary, you're on the right path, you're on the right road. Sometimes all of those sayings and all of those mentalities fail us too, because sometimes the emotions just become too strong. And yes, those mentalities can quiet them. It can take the importance out of those emotions, but temporarily. It can quiet them, but it doesn't silence them. So when life starts to circle around a job or school, or whatever you are busy with, and you start to feel like you're lacking freedom in your own life, sometimes you might ask yourself, what am I really doing this all for? You lose sight of the bigger picture. You start to feel like you're climbing this ladder of life, just waiting for your life to begin, because there's always the next goal that's gonna bring me to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. We're all just waiting for the end goal. And what I think this circles around is we tend to think that happiness is the destination. But when you look at life that way, it will continuously just be this moving horizon. If you start to chase happiness, you will never feel satisfied in your life. We will never arrive there. So now let's untangle this. What is the problem here? What is the underlying issue here? It's important to check in on all of the areas of our life, professionally, emotionally, physically, all of the areas that complete our whole being. Because let's face it, it's very easy to prioritize things like our job before we check in with our basic human needs every day that make up our lives, because our emotions don't pay the bills, right? But changing the perspective and realizing that actually checking in with our basic human needs does pay the bills, because we can't show up to our job at our 100% if we're not checking off all of the boxes in other areas as well. So what I did when I started feeling this way, I was like, all right, we're not gonna sit here and we're not gonna spiral, we're not gonna cry about it, we're not gonna do all of that. We're going to open up my notes app and we're gonna start writing. We're going to check in on all of the areas of my life and we're going to get to the bottom underlying surface of this. Let's come up with ways that we can settle the emotions that are arising here. So here's what I came up with and I'm going to share it with you. If you can relate to this feeling of stagnation that I mentioned, that you feel like you are losing at the race, you're not where you are, you're behind in your life. The underlying fact here is that you're wired for acceleration. When we achieve something great, dopamine hits, and our brain's drug is dopamine. It chases it. And for high achievers like you and myself, novelty, new, a dream that we're chasing, a goal that we're chasing, that becomes a direct source that triggers our dopamine. So when days start to blend together and you feel like you're not making any motion towards what you want in life, we start to get bored. So this isn't about me feeling bored with the job that I'm doing or being bored with flying. This is me fearing stagnation. So what I said here is, okay, we don't need to leave what we're doing right now. We just need growth layers instead of one ladder. I need parallel identity development. What do I mean by this? This means that I need to expand myself in additional areas. I need outlets while I actively grow and develop in my flying, because if I don't have other outlets and other ladders that I'm climbing when I'm not flying, then every single night alone in a hotel room is going to feel like a failure, and that's heavy. We can't have that. So now that we've solved the mental math of what we need to do here, now let's come up with a plan of action. We need to figure out and evaluate exactly what we want. So I asked myself, I'm like, okay, who is Peyton when nobody's watching? Take away pilot, goals, career status, clothes, makeup, Instagram, TikTok. Take all of that away. Who am I when I sit here, and what do I want? Because when you chase future greatness and achievements and materialistic things, that is a constant moving horizon. You'll get that thing, you'll be excited about it because it's new, and then it'll become old. And all of a sudden, it's not exciting anymore. Your present state will always feel insufficient. You will consistently find empty happiness. Because realistically, if that was enough to keep us happy, then when I got my CFI and I started working as a CFI, which is so exciting and I was so excited about. I thought, I have achieved excellence. I am happy for the rest of my life with this. That becomes old too. You become burnt out from that. Then I got my SIC type at 21 years old. That is complete and utter excellence. I thought, this is above and beyond. I'm burning jet fuel. There is nothing I could possibly want more in life. You learn and you adapt in that. You grow, you become comfortable in that. Every single peak is going to lose its importance over time. So what we're trying to add to our lives here is aliveness in our present state. So that brings me back to the question of who are we internally and what parts of us need love instead of performance. So I started to trace back to when I felt my most alive, my most present in this very moment. And if I were to just take a screenshot of this very moment right here and stay here for the rest of my life, I could feel at peace and feel happy here, not like I'm chasing something. I'm not thinking about being anywhere else. Two things came to mind here: the combination of growth and peace. And it took me a minute. I had to think about this. I was like, when would I have sat there and not thought about being somewhere else, or not thought about I should be doing this right now? And I thought back to the trip when I was in San Francisco. I was there right seating the Phenom, which was my very first vlog. I was alone in this brand new city and I wasn't doing anything special. There was nothing sparkly going on. I was literally dropped at a restaurant and I just walked up and down this street. I was freezing cold. There was nothing going on, but everything was new around me. And I was in this big, loud city, but I was such a small little speck in it. Nobody was watching. There was no proving. There was no pressure to get anything done or to be anywhere else. I was just exploring. And I was alone walking around the city, but I was not lonely. I was making my first vlog, so my creative wheels were turning. Now, what I thought about this was, that is the same girl that's sitting in this hotel room tonight feeling this way. Except right now my life feels mechanical. Schedule, hours, climb the ladder, watch what I'm spending, watch how much money I have coming in. I need art, I need creativity, I need to feel like I'm building something. When I was in San Francisco, I saw life as like a movie. Like I saw it through this creative lens. Like the world is my oyster. The difference between the two is right now my life feels like a task rather than a story that I'm able to write on my own. This is not meant to be poetic, by the way. It's just coming out that way. I remember watching back on that vlog and being like, wow, I am glowing so differently. That was so natural, that happiness and that glow on my face, and like the excitement of where I was and what I was doing was literally so authentic in me in that moment. And I thought to myself, I am happiest when I am creative. I asked myself, I'm like, what can I do to get my creativity back and feel that in my everyday life while I'm completing this job and growing and climbing the ladder of flying? And I was like, my vlogs. And then I asked myself, well, why did I stop vlogging? Why have I not started another vlog yet? And I was like, well, it's because I don't feel like I have anything to record or to put out there. Like when I was in San Francisco, it was a new experience. I was experiencing a new city. So of course I can record that and put that out there. But when I'm every day in a hotel room and every day is looking the same, and then I go home and I have 2 days off and all I really do is go and grocery shop and go on my walk and do this and that, I was like, I have nothing to record, so I'm just not going to do it. And then I was like, no, let's shift the perspective. Life doesn't need to be a whole painted movie. That belief right there is the trap that's taking your creativity away. I can either look at every day as this is boring, I'm grocery shopping, I'm going on my walk, I'm preparing for my trip, I'm flying, I'm then in a hotel room alone, and I can look at that as it's a boring thing. Or I can look at it as I'm a young 21-year-old girl who's got this new job and just moved to Arizona and is alone out here and is navigating through life and is learning life lessons and dealing with ambition, but loneliness and all of these different things that's going to teach me and build resilience in my life. And I'm out of my comfort zone and I'm away from the people that I love, and I'm learning to navigate that. That's what I need to do with my creativity. That's what I need to put out into the world. That's what's going to help other people navigate through their life too. People want real, not aesthetics. I need depth, not performance. So when I change the perspective like that, I have everything that I need right in front of me. Let's make that cinematic. So when I came to this whole conclusion, I decided I'm not going to look at my hotel rooms as a waiting room anymore. I'm going to look at it as my creative office. It's going to be where I write. It's going to be where I edit. It's going to be where I read and learn and evaluate on my days and journal. It's going to be about a young person navigating through life and becoming. I guess my whole takeaway is just to change the perspective. If you're feeling stuck, you're not. I just taught you how to think through it and talk yourself through it and find the underlying issue. It's time to check in and evaluate with yourself. It's not all about this job sucks, this school sucks, I'm not happy with what I'm doing. It's not because you don't have these materialistic things or because you haven't achieved the goal. You just need more outlets and appreciate the moments that suck, because that's what's going to build the resilience and turn you into the person that you're trying to become. And that's what makes somebody great. So like I said in my other video, you don't just wake up and become great. Be patient with yourself. Change the perspective, change the way that you're looking at your everyday life. Life doesn't need to feel cinematic in your everyday. And if you try to make it feel that way, you'll always be chasing that moving horizon. You'll never feel settled. That's all materialistic stuff, if that makes sense. So right now, my best friend from home, my very, very best friend, Alyssa, and her mom is in town. So I'm going to go meet up with them for dinner. But I just got back from my trip yesterday, and it was just this previous trip that I had this whole thought process. So I wanted to put this out there when I got home. I hope it makes sense. I know I was a little bit all over the place because that's how the experience felt for me. It was very all over the place. But I hope this could help somebody. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. If you are, I hope we can grow together. Because that's what this is about. That's what I'm going to make this platform about. People who are becoming, people who want to grow, and you guys are going to come along on my journey doing that. So have a great night.